Hi Hans, I got your comment on my video and I thought I could help you out better if maybe I did a quick little video for you and showed you a reference where to go for more extensive help. So going back over what you wrote to me, you told me that you had a problem with DecoderPro, that in the bottom left hand corner that you're supposed to get green and all you got was red offline, and how do you make them green? So let me shrink this picture down a little bit and we'll get started on that answer. Get me hidden down here a little bit out of the way. Give us more room to play. Alright, so the first thing I did was that I opened DecoderPro so I could show everybody what you were talking about and make sure that I was talking to you about the right thing. So you said down in the left hand corner you were getting red offline instead of green online. So looking here with DecoderPro open, you can see it says Service Mode Programmer ExpressNet is online, and it says Operating Mode Programmer ExpressNet is online. And so I assume that's what you're talking about because they are red when they're not available. Okay, so if those are not coming up red, that means you're not communicating to your DCC system. So I'll go over a couple of ways and show you how that, how and why that works. Okay. So I called up some pictures. These aren't mine. I stole these right out of the JMRI manual, but I copied them over here on my desktop so I'd have this ability to enlarge them for you. Okay. First thing you do over here on your computer is you're running JMRI as DecoderPro, and you should have a Digitrax or the equivalent for whatever system you're running, because you don't specify it. But since Digitrax is so popular in the States, I used it as my example. So you'd have a PR3 or the new PR4, and that would be hooked up to a power supply, 14-volt power supply. Okay, and then that would go out to your programming track. This is the standalone mode for the PR3. The secret is this little magenta line between them. This is the USB port on the computer going to the LocalNet plug-in on the Digitrax PR3. Now, the computer can't talk directly to a PR3 without a communications driver. So that's one thing you have to make sure that you've got installed. This is what we call the standalone mode. So next thing I'm going to show you is the, as soon as I can get my picture here to move for me. Come on. Good grief. There we go. Wrong picture. Wrong direction. There we go. Here we are. This is the full interface here. Okay. This assumes that you have a command station controlling your mainline track, right, for your normal DCC commands and for your throttles and everything you would do out on your layout. In addition, you plug your programming track in to the programming port. When you do that, the command station becomes the power supply for the rail, and you don't need, for the programming track I should say. So you don't need that external power supply hooked in to the PR3. Other than that, it remains the same. You still need the driver, you still need the USB cable, the PR3, and then you need the LocalNet cable connected to the command station. Then you can select whether you want to control mainline operations or if you want to do programming track. That's how you get the full functionality down here in the corner. See where it says Service Mode Programmer? That's done on your programming track. And when you see Operations Mode Programmer, that's done on the main line. Okay? So you have to have one or the other set up. Okay, and it tells you down here which mode's available according to how you have it hooked up. Now let's go a little deeper here. We'll close this drawing up. It's of no further use to us. Here in DecoderPro, let's see how to set this up. So you would go to Edit, Preferences, Anytime Preferences. There we go. Connections right here at the top, the very top one. Okay, Connections. Now I'm showing two connections. I'm showing ExpressNet connection and a CMRI connection. I'm a Lens user, so instead of calling it LocalNet, they call it ExpressNet, but it does the same thing. So if you had Digitrax, yours would say LocalNet up here. All right, system manufacturer, as you can see, I selected Lens from the list. I'm sure you probably selected your proper one. Okay, and then I have mine set up as an ExpressNet simulator. But here's all the different kinds of lens units that JMRI can talk to. So I have it in simulator mode. That's why mine came up all green down here, even though I'm not anywhere near my layout. But let's assume, like you're trying to actually hook it up and make it work. So in your settings here, you have to tell it where to talk to. So let's play with this a little bit, and we'll go down here and or I should say go up here, and we'll select Digitrax to stay with our example, and we'll say it's a PR3 that we want to connect to. Next thing we're told is what serial port do I want to connect it to. Okay, see here I have a connection, I have a selection, COM port 1 or COM port 3. Now, I can just cheat and I can select COM port 1, and then when I try to use it, if it fails to connect, then I can come back up here and I can select, I can come in here and I can try COM port 3. So I'd have a 50-50 chance of getting it right. But another way to ensure which one you're using is to go down on your bar, your Windows bar. I'm using Windows 10. I don't know what version you're using, so you may have to hunt just a little bit different to find this. But here in my search bar, I can type in device, and in my list it's going to match up device manager. That's what I'm looking for. So I'll click that. And my device manager opens up. And here you see it says ports, COM. Okay. So I come down here to communications port 1 and communications port 3, COM 1 and COM 3. And you would be able to identify which one was Digitrax because it would have a Digitrax nomenclature in here. And then you could say, oh, well, that's the one I'm using. You could come back over here and you could select the correct port. Okay, so that's just a sure way of knowing which port you're on if you don't want to guess. Now all that sounds simple, and all you have to do then is hit save and exit out of DecoderPro and restart it. Actually, it will ask, do you want to restart? And when it restarts, then it reads all this information and comes up. All that sounds great. You probably may have even done all this. Okay, so when this is done, you may still come up and still get these red lines down here. I'm not going to save all this because I don't need to. I've done it, right? But it may still come up and be red down here and not connect. Well, if that's the case, it's probably your driver. Okay, so let's see where we can go to get a little help on all this. I told you I stole my little pictures right off the JMRI help. So we're going to go right here. I've already opened it, of course, to save a little time, But you can see up here in the bar, all I typed in was jmir.org, and I come up to the home page of JMRI, right? Which of course is the DecoderPro is one of the programs within JMRI. Now, one thing I want you to notice is that the little choo-choo train over here, that's your home button. You can go hunting and searching through JMRI, and believe me, you can go down a rabbit hole, you can get there quick. Okay? I advise when you get to a page, you read the whole page. Don't go hyperlinking. Read the whole thing first for an understanding. Then come back for the details and go to a hyperlink if you need. Go out a hyperlink, read the reference, come back, read the paragraph that you were having trouble understanding. Okay? If you don't, you'll go down a rabbit hole real quick. But when you do, hit the little engine over here, you'll come back to the home page. Okay, so from the home page, I go up here to the top menu where it says hardware. Okay, and again, I was assuming that you had Digitrax. You may not. But here's where you can find out what JMRI supports in the way of your hardware. So right there, it tells you hardware support. Down the column on the left-hand side, you can pick it out of the list in the sidebar, or you can come down, scroll the page a little bit, and come down here to an alphabetical listing. Okay, and here's all the command stations it supports. Here's all the networks that it supports, all the accessories it supports, and the programmers that it supports. So, staying with our little example, I'm going to say you're using a PR3 programmer. Okay, so I click on that and it takes me to the PR3 page. Gives you a nice little picture. Is that what you're using? Okay, and it gives you an introduction and it tells you about using it as a standalone programmer. Okay, and how to use it as a local net interface. Here you can see there's the first picture that I popped up. Right, but right above it, it says drivers. Okay, PR3 needs to have a driver installed when you use it with Microsoft Windows. So it tells you about it, and there's the Windows setup page that you can click on and go to for further help. Okay, but reading on, it says what? See also PR3 firmware issue which affects computers running Microsoft Windows. Below. They got a hyperlink. It'll drop you down the page to where you can talk about that. Come back up to drivers and go to the install page. Okay, so we can go to that install page, and there's Digitrax paperwork. If you don't have this, copy this. Okay, get a copy of it, right, and save it so that next time you have some reference material, or just go online and say Digitrax manuals and go to the link where you can download the PDF directly. What am I talking about? Look over here on the right hand side. There's all the PDFs given to you. Okay, so there's plenty of help there. Now you can follow the instructions on how to install that driver. And I believe one of these are the two issues that you have. Either you don't have a proper connection between the PR3 and the computer, or you don't have a working driver from PR3 to the computer.